This series is younger brother approved with a couple of content warnings. One, I only played the game as Beck, so I don't know if there's any sort of differences depending on which character you pick. Two, the story for this game is complete nonsense. It looks like they just kind of played Mad Libs with a bunch of words, so I'm just cutting it out entirely because it's only like 2 paragraphs long and it's only at the very start when you create the file anyway, so it's pretty easy for me to cut. But if you actually were to play the game, I don't know how much subtext you want to read into 2 paragraphs of Mad Libs, just like we threw random words on the wall and saw what stuck. But, I mean, there's definitely some potential to read subtext into it. And a couple of the bosses of this game are, super unfair, and I get pretty frustrated with them. I don't think I said anything that would be inappropriate, but, I might have forgot. So, those are the content warnings. Welcome back to another episode of Selpar Plays Mighty Gunvolt. Last time we got through the factory and defeated that seemingly unfair boss. And this time we're going to check out the biolab and see what's going on here. Ow! Got freedom. Frick is up with these weird frog creatures. Oh man. Successfully deactivated and still get hit. I don't like these frogs. They move way fast. I don't think I can get up there. Not as bad. That's really not a fair switch placement. boss. Alright, so this boss is going to be a little bit frustrating. So our main problem is that we have an unlevel surface. And that doesn't look dodgeable at all. Okay. There are too many attacks coming from too many different directions in this boss fight. Alright, so we gotta get our charge attack in. We want as much damage as fast as possible. These dang knives that turn into snakes are freaking impossible. Alright, well, I guess we'll give that one more shot. The main problem with that boss is that, like, the whole arena just turns into a constant hazard. It's definitely not, like, fair. Because the bosses are constantly changing elevation by going up and down. So the directions you have to dodge the knives change. Which makes them quite the problem. Time to that. Most likely take damage just volunteering the one hit compared to that nonsense where I get hit, flips down, and take a second hit off of it. Alright, here we go. Oh, those freaking attacks do so much damage for how hard they are to dodge. Alright. Try this again. Okay, well there's no way to counterattack that. That's perfect. Okay. Okay, that boss is really unfair. I don't think I'm going to beat that boss. So the problem with that boss is that there are two of them, for one. So I can't really keep an eye on the boss, per se, because they're both doing different things in different locations. And basically their basic attack is they move up and down on their pole thing, and they throw two knives. And every knife that touches the floor turns into a snake. Every snake moves towards the center of the stage. This, of course, means that if I manage to successfully dodge all four knives, they instantly turn into 4 stage hazards at the bottom of the stage. And they move around to the bottom of the stage. So, in order to clear off the stage hazards, I need to be shooting the snakes. But if I'm shooting the snakes, I'm not shooting the boss. And if I'm not shooting the boss, that lets the boss have more time to throw more knives, which makes more snakes. So you can either focus on dodging as many knives as possible and killing all the snakes, or you can try to fight the boss. You can't do both. Then, the bosses like to sometimes swap around where they are position-wise, and they'll go down to the bottom and they'll fly across to the center pole and then to the other side. This is really hard to dodge because I can't exactly just like jump over them. I think the correct answer is to slide under them when they do it, which is why the stage has that small dip in the elevation, which would be fine if there weren't a bunch of snakes there. But when that area is full of snakes, it's impossible to slide under that to get past them because you'll slide into a snake. Then, assuming you manage to deal with that, they have that other attack that they have where one of them will be up high, the other one will be down low. They'll have this V-shaped visor thing on their forehead, and they'll fire this huge beam across. The only way I can see to dodge that is to slide under it in the middle of the stage. But it's so big that I think like the timing would be... You have to have perfect timing to do it. Because it's as wide as your slide is long. And you have to be on the far side of the indent from the one that's down low, so you have room to slide under it. Because if you bump against the wall, Beck will stand up immediately and just eat the attack to his face. So that's frustrating. And then their fourth attack is they both go up high and just throw knives at you. And there is no answer to that. You can't hit them when they're up there. Beck doesn't have any way to aim upwards. So he's just gonna have to dodge as many knives as possible and kill as many snakes as possible and hope they come back down so he can get back to trying to do more damage to them than they're doing to him. But that's a loser's game because they're just doing so much damage with each hit, and there are so many potential attacks on this full screen at any given time that you have to be insanely good at this game to be able to beat that boss with any sort of regular consistency. It feels more RNG than skill because I'm counting on the enemies to be stupid and to not use their stronger attacks like go up to the top of the stage and throw knives down at me while I'm defenseless. Not to spam their laser attack that's really hard to dodge and does a ton of damage. And just have bad placement of their kunais so that their knives turn into snakes someplace where they don't bother me. And that's just not... That's not what's happening. Because that's very unlikely to happen. And it just feels very unfair. I don't feel like Beck has the proper tools in his arsenal for beating Biolab. He can beat the stage just fine. That boss is like a freaking hard counter to everything Beck does. Like, I don't see any real way that you could beat that boss without just grinding it until you got so good at it that you're like, oh, I've got the timings down. I know when this attack is going to go. I know when this attack is going to go. I can dodge all these snakes without having to shoot any of them, and I'll just wait for the snakes to expire. Like, in theory, it should be possible to beat, but it requires a whole nother level of skill from what I have. So I don't think I'll be beating that one anytime soon. And that's my opinion on the Biolab. I don't think it's designed properly for, Beck to be able to clear it. Which is a shame. I might take another stab at it later, but for now, I'm just going to call it a stopping point. And I will see you all in the next